What's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in. What if I told you that YouTube was censoring the silver stacking community? What if YouTube was purposely not pushing the message that silver stackers bring to this platform? What if the truth was not going to ever be able to stand a chance to get exposed because they did not want us to expose the truth? I mean, the dollar is exactly what silver isn't. Silver is the dollar's greatest threat, taking the power away from them and putting it into our own hands. If you cannot hold it, you do not own it. Do you think that they want us to spread that message? Do you think that centralized banks want us to take faith, take their quote unquote wealth away from them and put it into our own hands? No, they don't want that information getting out. They don't want us to expose the financial system or how corrupt it is. They don't want me to tell you that the dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power. Not 99%, not 97%, 98% is a literal and factual number. They don't want me to tell you to go to usdebtclock.org and show you that the United States is $29 trillion in debt. They don't want me to show you that stuff. They don't want me to expose that stuff or tell you that stuff. They don't want that information getting out, regardless of how many people I could save if they knew about silver, if they knew about precious metals in general. So many people think that America is this rich, wealthy country, but we're nearly $30 trillion in debt, and looking at the ways things are going to keep going is going to get much, much uglier. Much uglier. I mean, the last time we saw something like this was, I would compare to 1980 with the Hunt brothers. That's really when we saw how corrupt. I mean, we could take it back to 1930. FDR got in office. It changed the gold to silver ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. 16 to 1 has been the ratio average, I would say, over the last thousands of years, right? Silver and gold have been valuable for the last 5,000 years, since the beginning of man. Ratio was, 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold, and then it was 8 to 1 because that's the ratio that comes out of the ground. But it wasn't until 1930 when silver was single-handedly devalued compared to its big brother gold. And I say that because this is the first sign of corruptness we see in not only just the government, but in the people's eyes, seeing gold as this much more expensive, more valuable metal. There's a much bigger community for silver stackers than there is gold, though. It's called Wall Street Silver, not Wall Street Gold. My name is Silver Slayer, not Gold Slayer. Not Gold Guy, not Gold Guru. It's Silver Slayer. So when we're going back on bringing this back around to YouTube, when I started my channel, I'm not trying to sound cocky to any extent. If you guys know me, I'm a very, and it's weird when people say they're humble. Usually that's not, but the point is, I started a long time ago. I'm one of the first quote unquote silver stacking channels. Before me, it was just people posting, a video of silver or gold or unboxing it. But, the way that nowadays silver stacking channels are, there was no such thing as that back when I started. I'm talking about 2015, 2015, around that time, 2014, whatever. Salivate Metal and Silver Slacker were the top two. Junius Maltby, they kind of started, and I was shortly after them, I came along. But essentially, though, like us 5 channels, like High Ho Silver, Pit Bullion, Michael Pit Bullion, Numa Stacker, Shadow Stack, like that group, and including myself, we started silver stacking videos, like actual educational videos, updating with the markets, yada 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 yada. And I say that because when we started, silver was so small on YouTube that I remember when Salivate Metal hit 10,000 subscribers and we celebrated like it was 100,000. Silver channels were not supposed to get an opportunity to hit 100,000 subscribers. But now that's a possibility. That's a definite possibility. Look at Silver Dragons, much bigger than my channel, and started way later than me too. It's just how it goes. Silver channels are becoming more relevant, more popular, and I think as they become more relevant and popular, there's going to be more of a censorship going on. I mean, imagine if silver stacking channels have hundreds of thousands of subscribers pushing this truth, this reality about the dollar. That could go under the community guidelines as controversial and essentially give us a channel strike. And I have been stricken before. I've gotten a channel strike before. Now, this was nothing to do with silver. It was crypto related. And it was kind of messed up because I'll share a little bit. So I used to talk a lot about cryptocurrency, and there's these things called faucet sites where you can play games to earn free crypto, and you can also gamble on these sites. Like you'll place a bet, higher, lower. You can play blackjack on there, and it was totally fine back then. But then YouTube a couple years ago came out with new rules, guidelines saying that you can't promote gambling. So since I had links to these sites, I was basically promoting gambling, so I got a channel strike. Even though it was okay when I posted it, they backdated and still gave people strikes for talking about something that was completely okay when we made the video. I mean, that's just how YouTube is. But regardless, I do see potential for channels like mine that are talking about, politics, economics, the markets, what's affecting it, why silver is going to be so much more valuable, how the Green New Deal is potentially never going to happen. Or I could see that type of content being very, very risky to say the least for us. And that's scary because this is my job, right? I mean, I love, and it's not so black and white though. YouTube would look at me, or like, I can't say this theoretically, or someone, they could say that I'm promoting like fear, or I'm promoting controversial content, which it is controversial to say the least, but I'm just exposing the truth. I'm going to tell you how it is. If the United States is $29 trillion in debt, that's just a fact. And people need to know that fact. If the dollar has lost 98% of its purchasing power, that's just a fact. And people need to know that fact, because if they don't know that fact, if they don't know about silver stacking, if they don't see my channel or any of these channels, then they don't even have a choice to change their wealth or transfer it into something that is going to save them financially later on. If you keep your money in a bank account, your money's literally just burning away. But if you put it in precious metals, it's like storing it in a vault, a time capsule, hedging against inflation. But if people don't come across that content on YouTube, they will never even have a choice. That's why if someone did, let's say someone never knew about this stuff, completely blind to the dollar, all that, then they come across my channel, at least they have a choice now, because at least they know that, hey, wow, okay, and they can choose to keep watching videos or start buying silver, or they could say, you know what, I get it, but I'm not going to. At least that person has a chance, a choice. But the people that don't ever watch my videos won't even have that choice. So I just want people to have a choice. I just want to expose the truth to as many people as I can. And it makes me so happy when I get emails saying that I was the reason why someone started stacking. And that makes me so happy, because I know that I have just saved that person's life. I mean, when you're talking about finances, that's food, water, shelter, that's the livelihood, security of yourself, your kids, your family. So if I have brought that to the table pun intended, then that's all I want. I just want silver stacking to become more relevant. And Wall Street Silver did a great job of that. Everyone says Wall Street Silver failed, but no, that was a huge success. They pushed silver up to $30 within a couple of months, and that was only a group. They only had a couple thousand members back then. That is not a fail. That's a huge win for a couple thousand people to push silver up to its highest price in nearly a decade. That is very impressive within a couple of months. Very impressive. And now Wall Street Silver has over like 150,000 members. Think about in a couple of years, there will be hundreds and hundreds of thousands of members, and they will be pushing silver stacking to a point where it's going to be mainstream. Nowadays, it's just this shadow. It's like we're like the rebellious investors. We're the rebels, right? We're the ones that the government will look at us, or even YouTube will look at us as the minority, but in a very a negative perspective. And that's simply because they portray it that way. And that's why I want to wrap this back around to the Hunt brothers. Three brothers owned nearly 2/3 of the world's silver supply. And I'm not making that up. They owned up to 77% of the world's silver supply. Physical silver. Three brothers. Billionaires. Three brothers. And I really want you to understand this. Three people owned 2/3 of the entire world's silver supply. Silver, even 40 years ago in 1980, was needed in everything. Just because it was 40 years ago doesn't mean that silver shortages still weren't detrimental, that silver still wasn't used. I mean, there was still a lot of technological stuff going on back then. Imagine what governments would have to do if three people owned all the silver but that they needed. These three brothers literally were the reason why a lot of companies had to shut down or would have had to close. So the government and these guys, they were buying silver because they saw the corrupt financial system. They saw that they needed to hedge against inflation because they just like us, the same reason we're buying silver, they were buying it, but at a much bigger scale because they're billionaires. But you know what the government did though? They changed the narrative and made these guys seem like evil criminals. Even though they're buying silver just like me and you are, except they were buying billions of dollars, we're buying thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars. They're just buying billions of dollars or millions of dollars. Regardless, they were doing the same thing we are, but the government twisted it to make them seem like these evil crooks, these criminals. But all they were doing was buying silver. They were buying silver on the COMEX and turning those contracts into physical delivery. That's how it's the physical part. So the government banned silver, literally put a law out saying that silver's banned, made the Hunt brothers, forced them to sell all of their silver. And then once everyone else saw silver's price getting sold, went into oversold territory, everyone panicked, sold, brought silver back down to $9 on Silver Thursday. Regardless, though, I say that because do you know why? Think about it. Do you know why the government twisted the narrative and made them seem like criminals? Because imagine, this story was obviously very big back then. Imagine someone sitting, just a normal family eating dinner, watching the TV, and they hear about these three brothers buying billions of dollars in silver. They would think, why silver? What is silver? Why wouldn't they just keep that money or put it in the stocks? What's so good about silver? Then they come out and say, because the dollar's collapsing, because it's a hedge against inflation that can save yourself from the impending doom that the dollar has. Do you think that the government wants that image or wants them to represent that kind of narrative? No. So they twisted it, made them seem like evil criminals. So then when that family is watching on the TV and sees these guys are buying silver, but they're evil criminals, they're doing it is something very bad. So then that person on the watching, on the TV says, "Oh, okay, well they're just trying to do some scheme, some scam plot, But really, it was just three guys buying silver for the same reasons we are. And if you can see why I mentioned that, it could translate back into YouTube. It could translate back into YouTube. YouTube is censoring channels more and more every day. And eventually, hopefully not, because I love YouTube. Don't get me wrong, I love YouTube, but I do just see being realistic, right? I'm a realist. I love YouTube, but I do see how silver stacking channels or channels that expose the truth or even slightly controversial could be ending up in a pickle. And does that mean changing platforms or watering down our content? I'm never going to water down my content. I'm going to tell you out if the markets aren't always rainbows and unicorns, I'm not going to portray it that way. If silver prices are rigged, I'm going to tell you. A lot of channels, silver channels, even won't tell you that. They're not going to tell you that silver prices are being manipulated by banks like JP Morgan. Employees getting sent to prison. They're not going to tell you that. They want you to think silver's all fine and dandy. But I'm going to tell you exactly how it is. If silver prices look like they're going to be, crashing or collapsing or staying low over the next year, I'm not going to give you this false hope. I'm going to be real. Say, you know what? 2022, silver's price could be bearish. We might not see silver above $25 in the year 2022. A lot of people don't want you to think like that. They want you to always think silver's about to explode. But no, that's misleading people, and then they will, expectations are resentments waiting to happen. And then that could eventually lead that person to get out of silver and never come back. See, when I first got into silver, I always thought it was about to explode. So I had to spend 75% of my paycheck because I thought next week silver was going to skyrocket and I was going to miss the boat. So I needed all the silver right now. And that's not the case. That's not the case. Silver's not going to explode for years. I said 2024 to 2025 is when silver's real natural value will start to shine. That's when the Green New Deal, that's when solar panels, all that's going to be in full play. People are going to realize we don't have enough silver. And everyone's going to realize that silver is the most important thing that we do not have anymore. And but it's only 2021, about to be 2022. We still have time, folks. You don't got to spend 75% of your paycheck because silver's going to explode tomorrow. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not even next year. And when I'm talking about this type of stuff, I'm just trying to show you guys, because over time, you will learn this. But if you don't learn it, like if I would have seen a video like this or heard that information when I first started, it would have saved me a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of, because one, spending 75% of your paycheck means that you're probably going to end up selling your silver because you need that money. Maybe 15% is more realistic, but 75%, how are you going to pay your bills? How are you going to feed yourself? I was barely getting by spending all my money on silver because I thought that I wanted silver. It's addictive, right? And you get influenced by huge channels like Silver Slacker, unboxing thousands of dollars worth of silver. And it influences you, right? We are influencers. But if I'm going to be an influencer, I'm going to influence you in a way that hopefully is educational and allowing you to reflect upon yourself, because what works for me isn't going to work for you, and what works for you isn't going to work for me, because we have different financial incomes, different exit strategies, different time frames of selling, right? Different resources, different goals, likes different types of silver. It's very individualized, which is why I love silver. But regardless, we do need to come together. Wall Street Silver, they did it first. Well, I can't say that. The Silver Institute is the original Silver Forum. Or not the Silver Institute. The Silver Forum is the original Silver Forum, and not the Silver Institute. The Silver Forum is the first Silver Forum, which is funny, that ever existed. To my knowledge, right? Thousands of members. They do giveaways on there, contests. You can trade with people. Amazing place. They've sponsored my channel before. Right? They threw some silver at me, said, give this silver away to some of your subscribers. I said, okay. And then Wall Street Silver did the same thing. They threw me a 10-ounce Wall Street silver bar, said, give this away to one of your subscribers. So I did. Beautiful bar, by the way. It had the Wall Street silver guy. It had the ape on there. I mean, the bar was wicked. And if you've never held a 10-ounce bar before, that thing is heavy. Gave it away. And I'm saying that because platforms do support each other. You would think almost like it would be YouTube versus Reddit. It's usually how it is, YouTube versus Reddit. But no, Silver Stackers came together and said it's YouTube and Reddit. No other type of genre or other type of content does that. It's always enemies, but Silver Stackers always come together. So whether in 5-10 years, if there's a new platform, if I have to switch there, hopefully you'll come with me. But regardless, I do see how this could be and probably is going to be more and more of a problem as times get crazier, and how more truth is going to need to get exposed and what that cost could be or what that truth will be. So anyways, yeah, let me know what you think about this. I made a video similar to this a couple months ago. But I wanted to take it a little deeper in this video. Take it a little deeper. Because I was watching that video, reading the comments. I'm like, man, like, I got that point across, but there's a lot of other points that I could have talked about. So hopefully I covered them in this video. Thanks for tuning in. If you thought this video was educational, informational, at least entertaining, make sure to hit the like button. This was Silver Slayer. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you guys later. Peace.